Collected Essays of Valerie Lynn Stevens. Letter to Eckhart, Meister. Sometimes when we are hurting, we begin our own slow but sure self-annihilation. It is almost a sort of wishing of ourselves into non-existence, as if the fantasy of our own demise can somehow magically substitute for the inevitable actuality of our own mortality. So we construct all sorts of eccentric excuses and philosophies to pull the wool over our own eyes to the glaring truth that we do care, and perhaps even more so in these lucidly sentient moments of quiet desperation. It's not as if we wish for death, although we very well may have earnestly attempted to sever all possible ties with life. For, as many intuit, life is what we truly fear. And the funny thing is, when we have emerged once again from our caves of isolation and darkness, how we look back and can never seem to recall what we were fighting against in the first place. Yet this is the nature of all war and truce. And perhaps we do this because we are mistaking what was truly our valiance and our virtue for self-preservation and its methods of retreat. And yet each phase and turn of suffering and then relief bears a seemingly new longing for a time when we will learn how to walk strong and proud to never falter again. Yet just as much as we wish we could believe this into fruition, we also know that it can never be. So we just reason that maybe this time we will at least gain something worth suffering for. Otherwise, the clock stops, and every minute is an eternity, every hour 100 of them. Every day, every week, every month, every year, every decade, century, millennium, and the cycle of our innermost evolution continues. And yet still we wonder, can a human entity thus so fragile, complex, and limited truly ever evolve? Can we ever really change? And then suddenly, someday, we sense a shift from deep within, indescribably intangible, yet there, nevertheless. And before we can fully decipher what it is exactly that we had passed our time so studiously and yet seemingly fruitlessly. For the fog lifts, and in a kind of perverse joy and unburdening revelation, we find that we have become the soul of Eckhart, laughing at its creator, as its creator God smiles fondly back unto his creation, knowing that the punchline could never be read in the answers, but in the absurdist, but in the end redemptive tragedy being played out in the edifying process of the asking itself.